than the Clonus Cyclone himself, Barry McGuigan, and he joins us now from London. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning, Orla.
Barry, I know this is Katie Taylor's day and we all can't wait for the fight this evening at 4:45, but Deirdre was some contender in her day, wasn't she? And all thanks to you.
She was definitely a very special lady, and her book, My Call to the Ring, I'm very much looking forward to reading that, because I know it tells a woman who was a pioneer, who created something that wasn't there, and the professional game is so much tougher than the amateur game, and it's when you take the head guard off and the gloves become smaller and the punches become harder, and you're boxing more rounds, and it's 4 2-minute rounds for females. For her, she boxed 12 3-minute rounds, and she boxed at one stage against Christy Martin. I think they agreed to box in 6 rounds, but she was giving away substantial amounts of weight. And the coal miner's daughter, which was the boxing name for Christy Martin, she was really a very, very tough girl. And what I liked about she was a pioneer, Deirdre. She really was, and she was a lovely girl, and I'm glad to see that she's still involved in the sport and passing on her experiences to younger people. It's very important.
Now, you know Katie Taylor, obviously, and her dad, Peter, quite well. Have you been in a position to give them any advice?
Yeah, I've been. We done a TV thing, myself and Lucy Kennedy, a couple of years ago, called Lords of the Ring, and Pete was one of the coaches of one of the teams, and so they sparred and trained out where we were, out at the hotel, and they set up a ring out there, and I watched her sparring with Ross Hickey, who was the Irish senior lightweight champion, and I'm not joking you, she was just amazing. She was certainly a match for him. I couldn't believe how competitive she was right the whole way through the sparring, and that in fact is what has made her what she is. Her dad has been a huge influence on her life, and he has he's obsessive almost about discipline and about the technique. The part of that actually makes you a great fighter is just working with somebody who corrects literally every drill you do to make sure that it's right. And you can see that just how much better technically she is than everybody else. However, her final against the Russian is going to be very tough. This Russian has beaten her a couple of years ago, and so she will want to be in the best form of her life. She is, I believe, in the best form of her life, and I think she'll win. And interestingly enough, no female boxer has ever been in the Olympics, and so therefore no female boxer has ever won what's called the Val Barker trophy, which is for the best boxer in the tournament, and I think she's a contender for that.
That would be some honour indeed. Are you surprised, Barry, at the way women have emerged now, or did you see this coming all along? Did you think women would emerge eventually in the sport?
No, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, Orla, I didn't like the female boxing I saw 10, 15 years ago. I just didn't like it, and that's why I have such admiration for Deirdre Gogarty, because she done what nobody had ever done before, not just in the amateurs, but she went and was such a great success in the professional game. But I saw too many girls that were good and girls that weren't so good, and fights were one-sided, and so I didn't much like that. However, I went to the Golden Gloves with the late great Floyd Patterson in 1985, and the standard was better. And then I saw Katie about 5 years ago, and she completely changed my mind on the amateur scene.
Well, we mentioned there, Barry, the fight with Christy Taylor, and obviously, you know, the slugging it out, and it is quite rough to watch women doing that, and quite hard to watch them doing it. If anybody does, go and check that out on the YouTube thing. But when you watch Katie fight, and in particularly I'm talking about the fight against Jonas rather than the one with Koryeva, because I think Koryeva, as we said, was a little bit dirty. But the Jonas and Katie Taylor fight was technically beautiful, and they were both, I thought, so gracious, and so every time the ref intervened, they both immediately stopped. You know, they were really playing the sport as it should be played, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, amateur boxing is different to the professional game because they wear bigger gloves. They wear gloves that are padded with a closed cell foam, so it's safer. There is an awful lot more emphasis on the technical detail of boxing. So they encourage kids to move in and out of punching range and get your feet right. and get your punches in time with your feet and coordinate the hands and the feet. That's where the real skill is and where the discipline is. And getting that together takes a lot of hard work, and that's, I think, the advantage that Katie had. Katie had her dad, who was he was an Irish champion himself. Even though he was from Leeds, he came over here and met his wife back in the late 70s and ended up living in Bray. But he was actually a very good boxer himself, light heavyweight, and so he worked really hard on the feet and distance and timing, and getting your feet right is so crucial. So the footwork, once you get the footwork right, then the hands are easier to work. So, but it takes a long time and many hours of drills, and they talk about 10,000 hours to get something perfect. They must have done 30,000 hours, but they really have put an awful lot of work into it, and it's paying off, because you can see the better footwork and the quicker hands and the better technical. They're just having those better technical facilities.
I think Katie's speed is very well known. Everybody talks about the speed of her punch, that it's just incredible.
Well, it's not just that. It's most amateurs will throw 1-2s or 1-2-3. She'll throw 6-punch combinations. She'll get into punching range, fire off 6 punches, then get back out again. That is so tough to do, so difficult. So that's where her skill is. That's where her skill level is, and that's the advantage that she has over most boxers. Although, as I say, this Russian has beaten her 3 years ago. She beat her 10-1, and I know that Katie reversed that in the World Championships in China a couple of months ago. But it is a great sport for young ladies. It is very important. I am moving into Ireland, and we've got 2 mini programs. I've got the Barry McGuigan Boxing Academy in 5 cities in the UK, and we're moving into Ireland, and we're doing a mini project in Monaghan in September for ladies and men, young men, and it's intergenerational too. It's for people. We have plus 40s and then kids the age between 13 and 20. So it's kids that are having difficulty in life, Orla, and that's a great asset that boxing has. It's able to get to these hard to reach kids and kids that are having difficulty with discipline and in their lives and so on, and so many other issues that it can solve. Boxing is amazing, because you heard Deirdre talking about being able to purge, vent your spleen and get rid of your anger in a controlled and disciplined way. It teaches kids how to focus and how to get through tough patches, and it teaches kids to have the ability to start and have a middle and an end to a project. It gives them that advantage. And
to take their, as you say, all of whatever issues they have going on, to take them into the ring and to deal with it there, not to be dealing with it outside on the street as such.
Absolutely, or it teaches them to control themselves. And the one thing I can say about boxing, what's the one thing I got from, I'm 51 years old now, what's the one thing I've had for 35 years in the boxing ring? That is the ability to control the decisions I make. And whether that's decisions in business, decisions that happen spontaneously, everything is carefully thought out because of what boxing taught me.
And finally then, Barry, I know you also do a lot of sports commentating, and you're the chairman of the Professional Boxers Association, so life is generally good for you.
Totally, I'm submerged in boxing, and that's why it's such a great time at the moment. And London has turned green, particularly the XL Arena in Dockland, and it will be green today, and I'll be there at 4:30 to watch this amazing young lady do something that's never been done before. And I'm hats off to Deirdre Gold to the road that she set. And I hope that Katie Taylor brings home the gold, and it would be amazing if she brought home the Val Barker Award as well.
Well, Barry McGuigan, World Featherweight Boxing Champion, thank you so much for joining us this morning on LMFM with that very clever and interesting insight into the sport indeed.